get down through that over.
Right hand.
Some fighters fight for glory.
Nice.
He looks like he's what?
Others for revenge.
Time for some grounded pound late this first round.
But Merab Dvalishvili fights because it's all he knows. From day one, his inhuman stamina and relentless pressure made him an unsolvable problem.
Here, who's got an air
At UFC 306, he defied the spectacle, the hype, the man of the moment, and took down champion Sean O'Malley with sheer determination. 5 rounds of attrition, where the belt changed hands, not by luck, but by merit.
This may be a stylistic nightmare for the champion.
Now, the war isn't over. This Saturday at UFC 316, O'Malley returns with a single mission: to reclaim what was once his. And Dvalishvili isn't willing to back down. This is more than a rematch. It's a clash of wills, styles, and legacies. One is fighting to return to the top. The other is fighting to prove he'll never come down from it. Welcome to Merab Dvalishvili's war. But before continuing, please subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Merab Dvalishvili, known as the Machine, was born on January 10, 1991, in Tbilisi, Georgia. From a young age, he trained in traditional wrestling, sambo, and judo before moving to the United States at age 21 to pursue his dream of becoming a professional fighter. His path in the UFC was not easy. He lost his first 2 fights, but with discipline and determination, he put together a winning streak that took him to the top. In September 2024, he managed to dethrone Sean O'Malley and become world bantamweight champion, consolidating his place among the best. His fighting style, based on constant pressure and tireless takedowns, has made him a nightmare for his opponents. This Saturday at UFC 316, he will defend his title in a rematch against O'Malley, in a fight that promises to be an all-out war. Merab Dvalishvili made his professional MMA debut on January 24, 2014. Prior to joining the UFC, he competed in several promotions, including Ring of Combat, where he compiled a 7-2 record before being signed by the sport's largest organization. Merab Dvalishvili, he built a solid career within the Ring of Combat promotion, standing out for his aggressive style and inhuman stamina. When the opportunity for the belt arrived, he didn't waste it, facing Raufeon Stotts. This confrontation was special, since he would not only be fighting for the title but also for the approval of Dana White, who was in the audience watching the fight. From the start of the fight, Dvalishvili imposed his rhythm. Although Stotts tried to establish his striking, he was never able to stop the Machine's advance. At a key moment, Merab connected with a precise blow that changed the course of the fight, followed by a ferocious ground and pound that sealed his victory. With that victory, Merab not only won the Ring of Combat belt, but also caught the attention of UFC talent scouts. It was his ticket to the sport's elite. At UFC Fight Night 123, it wasn't just a close fight, but Dvalishvili's first step onto the biggest stage in mixed martial arts. It took place on December 9, 2017, marking his UFC debut after a distinguished career in Ring of Combat. The fight between Frankie Saenz and Merab Dvalishvili. From the start of the bout, Merab displayed the same frenetic pace that had brought him success outside the organization, applying pressure with takedowns and relentless attacks.
That hurt him! Oh! Big knee! Oh my God, an animal. Nice takedown. Moving forward here. Nice.
However, Saenz, a proven veteran, managed to contain his offense at various times, landing key strikes and defending grappling attempts well.
Got this forward. Ooh! Fires that knee. A return to the center. Big uppercut is Saenz. They go the distance.
The fight went to the judge's decision, and although it was close, the result favored Saenz by split decision. Although he fell short in his debut, Dvalishvili made it clear that he was a threat in the bantamweight division. The fight between Merab Dvalishvili and Ricky Simon at UFC Fight Night 128 was his second appearance in the UFC, and it ended up being one of the most controversial of his career. It took place on April 21, 2018 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And although Dvalishvili dominated most of the fight with his constant pressure and relentless wrestling, the outcome left many questioning the official decision. Merab the Machine. Dvalishvili came out like a whirlwind.
Inmediatamente cierran distancia y después levantó la pierna y
UFC de buscar talento por su parte.
For 3 rounds, Merab's resistance was a brutal spectacle. His pressure did not let up. His grappling attempts were unstoppable, and every second brought him closer to victory.
una muy buena pelea, ¿eh? ¡Aquí! ¡Oh! Va por él, intenta acabar con lo pataba al cuerpo. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But in the final moments of the third round, when it seemed that he had the fight secured, Simon caught Dvalishvili in a technical guillotine. Merab fought to the bitter end, holding on to the submission as the final seconds ticked away. He didn't give up. He didn't tap out. He stayed in the fight.
Ricky Simón voltea y le dice al referee, oye, estoy básicamente esta vuelta loca.
However, the judges ruled he had been knocked unconscious just as the buzzer sounded, awarding Simon the victory via technical submission. It was a controversial decision, an unexpected outcome, and a perfect example of Dvalishvili's unstoppable mentality. The loss was just the beginning. From that day on, Merab evolved, and it showed in his next fight. Merab Dvalishvili entered the octagon at UFC Fight Night 136 with a clear mission: to prove that the loss to Ricky Simon hadn't halted his rise. He faced Tyrion Ware. Merab Dvalishvili unleashed relentless pressure that made the octagon his territory. Ware tried to hold his ground, but every attempt at offense was stifled by the Georgian's relentless wrestling.
The center of the octagon. He's so good at pushing people back against the fence, but it just seems to wait for them to go. And here we go again. Look, well, he's waiting for his opponent. Yeah.
Round after round, the machine executed his plan with surgical precision.
Some hesitation. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. In your arm throb for a minute. Nice take.
Personally, thinks, oh, nice.
Takedowns, attrition, absolute control. Ware, a resilient warrior, searched for answers but never found the space to breathe.
Arm throb for a minute. Nice takedown. Look at that.
Extensively, he's not really had. He's well on the way to getting his arm raised here.
When the final buzzer sounded, there was no doubt. Dvalishvili had dominated every second. A unanimous decision victory. A statement of power, one step closer to the top. Since that night in Moscow, Merab hasn't stopped advancing. In his subsequent fights, he employed the same philosophy: an unstoppable pace, surgical takedowns, and a grinding wrestling game that slowly erodes his opponent's resilience until he has no options. He won by decision over Brad Katona, Casey Kenny, Gustavo Lopez, John Dodson, and Cody Stamann. At UFC 266, he would face a fight that would present him with challenges. Merab Dvalishvili faced Marlon Moraes in a bout that turned into a true roller coaster. In the first round, Marlon Moraes came out swinging, throwing powerful combos, and nearly finding the perfect opportunity to knock out Merab Dvalishvili.
At a point, Cejudo just decided.
Nice little combo there, but he's got to be
Fighting down the rankings.
During those intense minutes, the Brazilian's offense came dangerously close to knocking down the Georgian, and the atmosphere in the octagon buzzed with the imminent possibility of a knockout. But just when it seemed the scales were tipping in Moraes' favor, Merab was unwavering. In the second round, with the calmness of a seasoned warrior, the Georgian rallied with a lethal strategy. He took advantage of every opportunity to close the distance, execute decisive takedowns, and apply relentless pressure, changing the course of the fight. Merab's explosive combination of aggression and resilience allowed him to dominate the pace, turn the tide, and finish the fight with a spectacular TKO. It was a stark reminder that, in the UFC, fights can change in the blink of an eye.
He's got that wrist control
now
now.
he's not. He's not.
That'll do it.
The machine, Dvalishvili.
At UFC 278, an epic clash took place between two contrasting styles. On one side was featherweight legend Jose Aldo, and on the other, Merab Dvalishvili, the Machine, known for his relentless pressure and ability to dominate the octagon. From the start, the fight was an exchange of intelligent attacks and strategic movements.
For a chance to win it all for Dvalishvili.
Aldo sought to impose his technique and timing, throwing crisp combinations and connecting with precise punches, while Dvalishvili responded with unstoppable aggression, relentlessly advancing and accumulating takedowns that attempted to control the pace of the fight. Throughout the 3 rounds, the fight remained close and full of intense moments. Aldo, with his experience, took advantage of the moments to maintain distance and tactically plan his offenses, while Dvalishvili offered no respite, constantly pressuring him and seeking to make the difference through his physical control and dynamic aggression. In the end, after 3 rounds of fervent action and refined technique, the judges awarded Dvalishvili the victory by unanimous decision. UFC Fight Night, Yan vs. Dvalishvili was about to arrive. It was a true battle of titans in the bantamweight division. From the start, Yan tried to impose his speed and precision, throwing intelligent combinations that sought to thwart the Georgian's advance. However, Merab was unwavering, displaying his relentless pressure and exemplary control in all phases of the fight. Throughout the 5 rounds, Dvalishvili stood out for his strategic play, moving firmly around the octagon, maintaining constant pressure and forcing Yan to retreat.
Never count him out.
Takedown number 4 from Merab Dvalishvili.
Especially after Yan.
Each round was a testament to the Machine's relentless style, who dominated both the striking and the wrestling, earning the ovation of the crowd and the unanimous approval of the judges, who awarded each round in his favor. The final result, a unanimous decision, cemented Dvalishvili as one of the undisputed protagonists of the division. One step away from fighting for the division's title, he would face former champion Henry Cejudo in a battle that embodied the very essence of octagon warfare. From the outset, Cejudo, cunning and armed with lethal precision, sought to disrupt the Machine's advance with quick combinations and moments of technical brilliance. However, Dvalishvili was quick to change the pace, stringing together takedowns and transitions that began to chip away at his opponent's defense,
earning him a convincing victory.
Throughout the fight, peaks of intensity were noticeable, with Cejudo attempting to restructure his strategy and leverage his wrestling skills to surprise the Georgian. But every time the former champion attempted to regain control, Dvalishvili responded with an unstoppable series of chain attacks that demonstrated his ability to absorb blows and come back with renewed vigor. The result was a unanimous victory for Dvalishvili, who over the course of 3 explosive rounds made it clear that his style, based on constant pressure and a coordinated wrestling and striking game, is capable of neutralizing even the most experienced opponents. His golden moment would come on a historic night at the Las Vegas Sphere, his opportunity to fight for the title. For Merab Dvalishvili, This fight wasn't just another bout on the undercard, but the culmination of a journey forged in sweat and determination from the very beginning. In this context, winning the fight had a crucial meaning. It was the opportunity to cement his status as one of the most feared bantamweights in the division. Sean O'Malley faced Merab Dvalishvili in a fight that will be marked by its intensity and transformation of the evening. From the first round, O'Malley, known as Suga, displayed his vibrant and creative style, seeking to land precise blows and maintain his characteristic rhythm in the sparkling octagon. However, Dvalishvili's indefatigable pace began to impose its mandate. Each attempt by O'Malley was answered with a feisty advance from the Georgian, who combined decisive takedowns and absolute control of the distance.
To get inside, and he gets a second takedown.
Sean back up to the feet again.
Merab's strategy was not characterized by seeking a spectacular knockout, but rather by wearing down his opponent through a succession of meticulous maneuvers and powerful takedowns. As the fight progressed, Suga found it increasingly difficult to maneuver in the closed terrain that Dvalishvili established. The rotation of rounds left its mark on the opponent. And when the final bell rang, all three judges impartially reflected the Georgian's total dominance, awarding him the victory by unanimous decision. The night marked the changing of the guard in the division, cementing Dvalishvili as the new standard-bearer in the division and opening a renewed chapter in UFC history. Now it would be time to defend the title. The confrontation between Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov, scheduled for January 19, 2025, at UFC 311, is shaping up to be a crucial battle in the bantamweight division. From the start, Nurmagomedov imposed his technique and discipline, seeking to control the pace with sharp striking and ironclad defense. However, Dvalishvili's unstoppable machine began to open up, constantly forcing his rival to gain ground.
Seems to have landed the biggest shot.
February 7th. Dean Thomas, what are you seeing? So Merab is...
The fight was defined in a scenario of emotional swings and changes of pace. After withstanding the initial onslaught of Khabib's pupil, Dvalishvili took control of the contest with a series of takedowns and unquestionable dominance on the ground.
The middle. And there.
Good spot.
The belt is running.
Dvalishvili racked up points with his unstoppable aggression and control of the octagon. And although Nurmagomedov showed his composure and refined techniques, he could not reverse the wear and tear imposed by the machine.
Dvalishvili has broken George St. Pierre's record and down in the UFC prior.
And a guy as good as Umar.
Yeah.
In the end, the judges recognized the Georgian's superiority, awarding him the victory by unanimous decision. Merab Dvalishvili has solidified his dominance in the UFC bantamweight division, and his reign will be tested once again when he faces Sean O'Malley for the title at UFC 316. With his relentless style of constant pressure and octagon control, he has proven to be a nearly impossible challenge to overcome. From his early days in Ring of Combat to becoming the man to beat, each fight has been a display of resilience and calculated strategy. In this rematch, he will look to reaffirm his legacy and prove that his reign is not a product of chance, but of meticulous evolution and absolute mastery of the combat arts. If you'd like to see more of his fights, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming stories and fights. See you in the next video.